Today I'm doing a Q&A for you guys to not only know me a bit better in my journey, but to also help you guys out on your journey. So most of these questions are going to be training questions and starting calisthenics. So if you're starting calisthenics or you want to know more about calisthenics and maybe just even know more about me, then make sure you stick around and watch till the end of the video, because I'm going to be answering the most common and important questions about calisthenics. All right, so the first question is, which year did you start calisthenics? That's a good question. I think I started around 2016, 2017, but I wasn't necessarily taking it serious. I was just doing home workouts, push-ups, sit-ups. I didn't have a pull-up bar or no equipment, so I was just, doing what I could. So I guess you could say 7 years of experience, 3 years of solid training. And then I've got a similar question here, which says, why did you start calisthenics? So I started calisthenics because it was more convenient for me, and to be honest, I was super scared to go to the gym as well. I was kind of self-conscious when I was younger, and I didn't really like exposing my body, and even taking my top off was a bit scary because I felt like people were probably going to judge me and stuff. So it was a journey, and figuring out what I wanted to do in terms of my training kind of came natural, just because of the fact that I could do home workouts, no one would see me, and I could still make progress. So it was kind of a win-win. And then when I did go to the gym, if I did, with my friends back then, I only went a few times, I would be better at stuff than them because I was already training beforehand at home. And so it kind of worked out in the end, and it gave me a good experience of bodyweight training, and something that I carry with me now, that whole experience. And in terms of like bodily function, I mean, it speaks for itself with the flexibility you gain and the mobility and your general health of your joints, and the range of motion is natural. It's something that we used to do probably thousands of years ago, and I think we're not really aware of what our body is really capable of, and so exploring that is something that ignites the passion in me to do calisthenics, and that's why I love it so much, and that's why I love teaching it and preaching it, I guess, to people all over the world. So yeah, I'd say all those reasons combined. All right, so here it says, I'm gonna start today. Is there a training regimen to be followed or any tips? Okay, so when it comes to calisthenics, you guys need to know what your goal is. So I'd recommend any beginner at the start of working out should be working on their strength, because as soon as you develop your strength, you can then transfer that strength into skills and other types of training and styles that you want to do, because the strength is the foundation of everything you do in calisthenics. So if you can do, let's say, 10 push-ups in a row, maybe a bit more than that. Let's say you can do like 50 push-ups in a row. You can do 10 pull-ups. You can do an L-sit for 10 seconds. That's going to be a good strength level and a good base for you to build on later in calisthenics, whether you want to do freestyles, whether you want to do more static training, or you simply want to transfer that over to hybrid training and do more weighted stuff. So you guys need to basically build up your foundations and pretty much do what I just said, getting your foundational strength exercises to a good level before you start to do anything else. I would also say for beginners, a big tip is to not go overboard with your training. Make sure you do have at least one rest day a week. That is going to be important. You guys do not want to be burning out. Yeah, you might make progress for 2 weeks or 3 weeks if you train every day, but long term, that's not going to be good, guys. So getting in the habit of having rests in your training is going to be key for growth. Not only that, but nutrition later on down the line is going to play an important role in your training and your progress in calisthenics. So making sure those two things are in check is going to be so important. So make sure your protein's high. You don't have to eat a lot of calories unless you're trying to bulk up, but that's something I'll get into in another video. But I would say the main things are making sure you're training frequently but not every day, and also making sure that your nutrition is on point. When it comes to skill training, also another little tip is to not do more than 2 to maybe 3 skills max at a time, because it's going to be confusing for you. You're not going to really know where you stand in a certain skill, and you're probably not going to get anywhere. So focusing on 2 is going to give you more time to put more effort into those skills. You're going to learn them a lot quicker, and then you can just start learning a whole nother skill and develop your skill, I guess, arsenal. All right, so what age is too old to start calisthenics? There is no too old age to start calisthenics. Even if you're super old and you're like 70 plus, there's still mobility exercises and really low impact workouts or exercises that you can do in calisthenics that not a lot of people think about. Even if you're doing assisted chair squats and stuff like that, you guys are really gonna be fine. You're not gonna be doing too much if you're super old. Consult a doctor first. But if you're still mobile, you can still walk around, you don't get tired easily, then you can do calisthenics even if it's just a beginner level and something not too intense. Honestly, if you think about it, it took me like, let's say 7 years to get to this level. So if you start now and you're even 50, by 57, you're not gonna be far off what I can do, especially if you put in the time and the effort. Considering I didn't even know what I was doing for the first few years, you guys are gonna be absolutely fine. So you can start calisthenics at any age. The earlier the better, obviously, because you're gonna be able to learn more in that amount of time. But even if you're older, it's not gonna take you too long to learn skills, and you could probably learn a few skills within the first year that are gonna be pretty mind-blowing. Just make sure you go into it knowing what you're doing. Don't do anything without any sort of advice or, a professional helping you. What were your biggest fears when you were starting calisthenics? Oh, that's a good question. So I would say my biggest fears were probably never achieving my true potential. And I guess a lot of it was just it not working. I thought that if, I was training at home and doing bodyweight stuff when all my friends were going to the gym and lifting weights, I was never going to get strong. I was never going to get muscle. And I was completely wrong back then. What I learned from calisthenics will always stay with me for however long that I live. And it's trusting in doing something that you love doing and then getting the benefits out of it and the rewards later on. So at this point, I'm strong enough to do whatever I want, switch to any training style and still be super strong. So even if I wanted to do, let's say, bench press one day, I'll be insanely strong just because I was doing things like handstand push-ups and even static skills like learning the planche. That gave me a lot of strength to be able to do any training style, and so it can be transferred. Even if you guys are looking to do weights in the future, you can still start calisthenics. So do not worry about that if you're in the same headspace that I was back then, worrying about that sort of stuff. But yeah, most of it was just worrying it wasn't gonna work long term. But as I developed more and more skills and even developing my overall mobility, understanding of balance, full body control, I learned that, this was the most rewarding thing ever that I've ever done in terms of training and working out. And so I would say I was scared for maybe a year. And then after that, everything kind of fell into place. And even within the first few months, I should not have been that scared, but I was developing stuff really quickly, understanding things very quickly. And yeah, it's the best decision I've ever made in terms of my overall life, starting calisthenics. And so, yeah, I was scared, but it's just like everything. You're scared to do it at the start, but as soon as you have more experience in what you're doing, you get less scared, you get less anxious, you start seeing the results of the work that you've put in. And yeah, you end up loving what you're doing. Hopefully, I did. One thing I would say is don't be scared to fail. It's completely normal in calisthenics and pretty much anything that you do in life to fail again and again and again before you're able to do something. And so just think about what I said, long-term gratification, guys, and keeping in mind that at the end of the day, if you keep putting in effort into something, eventually you're going to win and you're going to be able to do skills. Even now in my training, I still struggle to do certain skills first time and I fail again and again and again, but I kind of learned to love the process at this point because I know I'm going to get that skill eventually. And it's kind of like a little game that I'm playing with myself and the universe, and knowing that I'm going to get that skill eventually, and I know that I'm putting in the work to get there. And so just keep that in mind when you're training calisthenics, whatever skill you're doing. Even if you're learning like a beginner skill like the frog stand, just keep in mind that you guys are going to be able to hold that for a long amount of time, and just think about how good that's going to feel when you're able to do it. Okay, so what is the best bicep exercise? The main source of growth for my biceps was pull-ups. You don't work the biceps directly on pull-ups, but you do hit them nonetheless. And even when doing weight pull-ups, I noticed that, my biceps blew up doing them. You're pulling yourself up and trying to pull yourself up to the bar, and so naturally your arms are going to take a lot of that load. Your arms are going to blow up, your forearms are going to blow up, your biceps are going to blow up. As soon as you get to a good level in pull-ups, you guys are really going to see the benefits. Also, chin-ups as well are going to help a lot, but I never really do chin-ups. I do them sometimes, but most of the time I am doing just pull-ups, different pull-up variations, weighted pull-ups, and as soon as I got to a strong level in them, my biceps really blew up. So weighted pull-ups, pull-up variations is where it's at. All right, so do you struggle with binge eating sometimes? I don't binge eat anymore, but if I do get the urge to do it, which is occasionally because I'm human, then I will just have something super small, low calories, so it's not going to disrupt my nutrition too much. But I try not to now. I try to suppress it as much as possible. The best way to do it is having nutritional meals that are going to fill you up for a good amount of time. Real food is what I preach, natural stuff, and you guys are going to be fine. Make sure you try and eat natural stuff as much as you can. Nothing processed. That is not what I recommend, because it's not going to help supplement your muscle growth. It's not going to put you in a great mental mood going into the day or even the next day. And yeah, it's just better for you. All right, so should you work out every day? I believe I answered that earlier, but yeah, definitely have one rest day, guys. Don't work out every single day, because it's not going to be good for you. Unless you're doing stretches and you count that as working out, then you can. But every day, definitely not. The most progress I've had is when I've actually had only 2 or 3 days of working out a week, because I have so much time to rest and my muscles come back 10 times stronger. And yeah, that's been the best outcome for me normally, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, 2 to 3 times a week, you can still make insane progress. How long does it take to master muscle ups? So I have a few videos of me doing muscle ups when I was younger and when I was just starting calisthenics. I would say that it takes a different amount of time for different people. When I first started, I was able to just about do a chicken wing muscle up. If you don't know what that is, that's what it looks like. And eventually I was able to do it a lot cleaner and cleaner the more I did it. I think the problem with people and muscle ups is that they don't do it frequently enough. As soon as I started doing muscle ups more frequently, I noticed they got a lot cleaner. The only downside to doing muscle ups more frequently is that your muscle is not really gonna improve or grow, because the muscle up is more of a dynamic movement. Yes, you're still getting some muscle activation. Yes, you're still breaking some muscle fibers down, but you're not really working the muscles. You're not really growing them, which is my main focus when I first started training. And so it depends on your goals really, but I would say if you train the muscle up frequently, it's going to get a lot better. It's going to become a lot cleaner. Only in the last year, my muscle up has been very smooth. And so guys, you need to train it frequently if you want to be able to do it. And I would say in terms of a duration of time it takes to do the muscle up, if you're starting from 0, you can't even do 1 pull-up yet, then I guess a year for the muscle up is probably a good sort of estimate. But if you can do, let's say like 10 pull-ups already, you should be able to do a muscle up pretty much straight away. Have to work on a little bit of explosiveness, some technique, and you guys are going to be able to get it, even if it is a chicken wing muscle up like I used to do. But in all honesty, guys, it takes people a different amount of time to achieve skills in calisthenics. No matter if you're, you know, younger, if you're older, if you have experience, if you don't have experience, it's going to take people a different amount of time. So it's very hard to say, you know, how long it's going to take to do a muscle up. But I would say if you can't do it in a year, let me know. Message me on Instagram. If you don't know my Instagram, it's the same as my YouTube. And who knows, maybe I can help you. And if you don't want to wait for me to DM you, then you can also get my program that does have a muscle up program in there, and you guys can get that for pretty cheap right now. It's in the description. But if you don't want to pay for that, then just wait for me to do a muscle up video or respond to you on Instagram. But that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you did enjoy the questions, and hopefully I got the best questions from the Q&A. I tried to make this as unfiltered as possible, the same with some of the footage from this video as well. So I want to be completely transparent and, you know, real with you guys, and I guess not hide anything, or, you know, not just cut the video, or try not to cut it as much as I can, because, you know, everyone's the same, man. Everyone's, you know, everyone messes up. I mess up my talking in the videos, and I mess up my calisthenics skills sometimes. As you guys have seen, it's completely normal. It's natural. I want to make sure that this channel is the most realistic in terms of calisthenics and training and growing as not only a calisthenics athlete, but also in terms of your overall health and mindset. But hopefully you guys learned something. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like, and also don't forget to subscribe for more videos just like this, and more instructional videos and educational videos around calisthenics in the future. This is just a one-off, and I want to thank you guys for all your support recently. It's been amazing, and this is because of you guys, so this is ours. Anyway, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Stay safe, stay healthy, and peace.